nice to see you.
I'm like a huge fan.
Oh,
I know.
I'm a fan of yours. It's great to be with you.
Be professional, though. It's very nice to meet you. You're in everything I love. Okay. I didn't know this, though, but you started out musical theater. Is that true?
Yeah, well, both my parents worked, so they would put me in different stuff, and my mom loved dancing in the theater, so yes, I did musical theater when I was very young, but there was more girls than boys in the productions, as we would call them. Yeah. But we were playing all the leads, so I would play Daddy Warbucks, and Annie would be older than me. So it was a very kind of odd casting. But
kind of makes it fun.
I love doing it. You did a lot of musical theater, right?
Yeah, growing up, what other shows did you other than Annie?
We did, oh gosh, we did Oliver.
Okay.
I played Mr. Bumble. We did The King and I, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
South Pacific.
Okay.
We hit the list.
Brigadoon. And we did Annie Get Your Gun. We did like several.
Did you love doing it?
I felt like I was even if I was a chorus person, I was at the Grammys and it was starring me.
You weren't in the chorus very
often. Yes, I was.
You have a phenomenal voice.
I did. Oh, thank you.
You were out there.
I've done both though. Yeah, I did like chorus work. I think it's actually awesome to like earn that, and then you get so excited when you get the lead. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I did have the lead in Brigadoon, and they had to suffer through my Scottish accent.
Did you actually pull one off?
Look, I was trying to be Meryl Streep in Burleson, Texas. I was like,
how old were you when you did Brigadoon?
Way too. Even at 43, I can't nail a Scottish accent.
I don't think I could either.
No, but I think I was like 16, but I was way over.
That's impressive that you were trying to hit the accent.
Impressive because you never heard it.
Yeah.
But did you have any other jobs like before this job? What'd you do?
So many as a kid. I bagged groceries. I did telemarketing.
I did that too.
I was a lifeguard. Telemarketing. What was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of gave away free tickets. I was a cocktail waitress at a comedy club, and then during the week, I would telemarket for them and then call people, like cold call and be like, hey, do you want free tickets to the comedy show?
Did you have your little thing that you'd read?
Have a whole spiel, yeah. I thought I was charming.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure you got a good response.
I did, and then I actually started learning that I'd say like, oh, ask for Kelly, and then I'd get tipped majorly. So yeah, I kind of had a system.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
You were a lifeguard?
I was a lifeguard.
Did you save anyone's life?
Not really. I told this story before, but there was one grandmother who had on, what are those things called? The floaties?
Yeah.
So she wasn't going to drown.
Okay.
But she was drifting slowly from the shallow end to the deep end.
Drifting.
And then at what point my boss said to me, you should go in there and help her. She needs help. She was like smiling, looking up at us. This was at a YMCA in Illinois. So it wasn't like the beach with like, it was nothing like Baywatch. So I just anyway get into the pool and I gently moved her maybe 10 feet.
You saved a life, sir.
Well, when I got out, the woman made a big deal out of it. My boss tried to really kind of pump me up and she goes, congrats on your first save, like a throwaway. So then in my mind, I was like, yeah, that's right. Like, I guess I notched a save today, you know, because it felt good to hear that I made a save, and I certainly wasn't going to take it away from me. But then that night at the dinner table, when we were sharing our day, my dad made it clear that I did not, in fact, have a save. He said, you just moved to Grandma 5 feet. You didn't save anybody. So he brought me right back down to reality.
You down.
Yeah,
Nothing like family.
But my telemarketing, I don't know that mine existed.
What do you mean?
Well, we were selling tickets to the Lake County Sheriff's Police Rodeo, but we were in a nondescript building. So I didn't know. I was like 16. I had a job. So I was calling up selling tickets to a rodeo. But then when I look back when I was older and a little more savvy, I thought, I don't know if they ever put on a damn rodeo. You know what I mean? Like, no, but I don't know. But then,
you were a scam.
I think I was helping scam because if they didn't want a family package of 4, they would be more than welcome to pay $5 to help an orphan go. But I don't know how many orphans were around. We sold a lot of orphan tickets. Like, how many orphans were going to show up at a rodeo?
You know
I didn't know what was happening. I didn't feel good about it later in life.
I didn't feel good about it. That makes sense.
I don't know.
Repenting.
None of that telemarketing is probably very good. I mean, I'm sure there's some great telemarketers out there. I've never met. I don't know the great ones. But this seemed like something that was not necessarily a legitimate rodeo.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We need to take a short commercial break. Let's get an audience member to help us out.
Hi, Kelly and Vince. My name is Josephine, or Giuseppina, and I'm an Italian nonna to my 3 wonderful grandsons.
Aww.
Vince, I can't wait to see your new movie. As a nonna, I have to say, you and Kelly look hungry. Please, come to my home on Staten Island after the show. I'll make you pasta con sarde. It's delicious.
Fine.
You will love it. More with Kelly and Vince after the break.
Oh my God. Vince Vaughn, and that was a look at his new movie, Nonnas. It's on Netflix right now. Okay, I love the movie, but tell everybody a little about it.
Well, God, look at that cast, and those actresses
cast
are
is
so
insane.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a true story. It kind of moved me when I got the screenplay. I hadn't known about the place. It's actually in Staten Island and has been there for a long time. The owner, Joe, had the idea to open a restaurant and have real-life Italian grandmothers, Nonnas, be the chefs and to cook.
Yeah.
And a way to pass on their family recipes and create a family atmosphere. Yeah. These women who obviously had contributed so much to their families and still had a lot of love to give to people. So it was a really kind of an interesting special idea. And then the director, Stephen Chbosky, his wife Liz, wrote the movie. And I just thought it was so special that it was, you know, a true story about this idea that came to him to create an atmosphere for these women to do something that they were terrific at, but later in life to have the space to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
it was very cool.
Oh, and the connection. There are so many lines in this that had me in tears for good reasons, but like there's just, it's so well written. And it's actually called Enoteca Maria, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's now become, he's included Nonnas of the world. So it's people from, you know, it's Japanese grandmothers, it's
Yeah.
Greek grandmothers. So it's food from all over, cooked by grandmothers, and it's very special.
Oh my God. Watching it, I have a very small family, and it made me want to have a huge one, because I
That's
was like,
good.
how beautiful is
Yeah.
that to have all those people to support you and be there and all the good and bad times. But
It reminds you of stuff too, like in life, you kind of have the perspective of being a kid, and then how fleeting those moments are.
Yeah.
And you need those reminders, not that you want them, but just to be grateful and enjoy the people in your life that you have that are with you to enjoy.
Yeah.
And it deals a little bit with that, you know, kind of someone losing someone they care about, and then that transition of creating a family or creating a group of friends.
Yeah, I love also that it kind of jumps at one point, maybe a couple points, but you see the past.
Yes.
And you see them younger, and then you see them older. I love that.
Me
So
too.
you really get to dive into that right off the bat, and then it happens later. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Your grandfather was an Italian immigrant, right?
Yeah, my grandfather's from Naples, and my mom's mom. So yes, he would live in Florida half the year, and then in Canada the other half of the year. But yeah, he was, you know, played the accordion, and like a lot of those guys, never went to school, but spoke French and Italian and Spanish and English. Yeah.
Do you make any Italian dishes? Do you cook?
You know, I'm more of a griller, but I had to do some preparation for this movie, and you appreciate the process. I mean, you know, I think making a movie is a lot like cooking. There's so much time and energy and detail, and you're really making because you want to share it with people for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of in an instant that the meal goes or the movie's watched.
Yeah.
But the process to me, especially in...
That's almost like
I
the
can
magic.
understand better now, like when my mom would get mad when she would call me for dinner and we'd keep playing outside because there's so much time and effort put into preparing those meals. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Your mom and I are different.
Yeah.
I'm real good at eating. I don't like cooking.
Yeah.
You just took your kids to Rome, right?
I took my kids, I was there for an Italian film festival, and I got to take my kids, which was great because we went to Rome. I didn't go to Europe. You probably similar to me. Not till I got older for work did I go to Europe. Did you go younger?
I went right after, like I started 20. So I started 20 and later.
Right, for
like,
work when you were in your 20s. So I
yeah.
did too. I mean, we would take a station wagon for a family vacation and try not to get grounded by getting in a fight with your sister next to you. You know, because you'd eat a lot of sugar and then no one could sit still and then you'd get in trouble for it. But
and
anyway.
then they'd be your parents. Or
Yeah, they'd be trying to hit you from backwards. It's like, you gave me a Capri Sun. What do you expect's going to happen here? Right, exactly. You do those, like, fill in those kind of, like, play those quiz games for 5 minutes, and the next thing you start fighting for the elbow space.
Lasts for 20 minutes.
When I go to Europe, when I went older, I really appreciated it because I had, you know, studied about it and read about it.
Yeah.
And my kids are terrific. They're very down to earth. But they didn't really have context to appreciate Rome as much. They did, you know, the Colosseum. But I tell you, the funny thing is that their best memory whenever we take a trip, I always say, what did you guys like the most? And their favorite thing was we did a cooking class, their mother, me,
I was going to tell you, I did one.
Did you in Florence?
Italy, in Tuscany, I did.
We did it in Florence, and my kids loved it. Did yours?
No, actually, let's be real. I was on a vacation with my sister, my mother, and friends.
Yeah.
That was the time they were spending with their father.
Yes.
and I chose wine in Italy.
But those are important trips. Those are important trips.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids have been able to travel though. They have done things like that. But like my daughter loves. She actually made my cake like a week ago for my birthday. She made.
So thoughtful.
Yeah,
Did you
so
know she was doing it?
No, she loves to be in the kitchen though. We are so different.
What was the cake? What's the cake that you like?
A red velvet with cream cheese frosting.
Nice.
What? Yeah, it was really good.
Awesome.
But no, but the cooking thing is amazing there. Like,
Yeah.
you made it from scratch. The pasta, the dough, everything.
Yeah, it was. We made a pizza and a pasta together, and it's just so funny. Something simple like that became on this big trip overseas. That was their favorite thing that they did.
Yeah.
Right? Just
Oh,
spending
my
time.
daughter was so mad at me because we sent pictures to her on her iPad saying like, "Oh look, mommy made," and she was like, "Are you serious?" She was so mad. But you know the thing they do that trips you up is they give you wine. And and so by the time we're like about to eat it, I am MC hammered.
Yeah.
I have had a little too much, and like my mom's giggling in this high pitched thing. Like we're all like, you know, it's the best meal ever because you're drunk. Yes.
But they give you a fancy way to say, "I'd like to revisit the 2001," which really means pour me another glass of the Cabernet. Yeah.
It was so good though. I loved it. I have to ask you this because I'm a super fan. I've heard there's rumors about Dodgeball 2 and also Wedding Crashers 2. What? I've heard rumors.
Yeah, there's always been rumors. I think if there's one that's closer, it's probably Dodgeball. There's an idea for it that's pretty good, but we'll see. You never know. You really want to make sure if you're doing a sequel that it's its own story that's good. So the Dodgeball one feels probably at this point a little more promising.
I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Vince Vaughn is here. His new Netflix movie, Nonnas, follows a man who opens an Italian restaurant run by a group of grandmothers in honor of his late mama. It's a wonderful, touching story that's perfect for Mother's Day. Joining us now, I can't believe my life, but it's happening. Joining us now are a few of the incredible cast members of this film. They have, all of them, been nominated for Academy Awards. You've seen them separately in far too many movies to mention, things like Thelma and Louise, Goodfellas, Midnight Cowboy, basically the greatest movies of all time. You're welcome. Everybody please welcome Susan Sarandon, Lorraine, Bracco, and Brenda Vaccaro. For y'all. So wait, this is technically your first time all three working together in a movie, right?
Definitely first cooking show, right?
First cooking show. Cooking fight, yes, food fight. How was it? How did you like it?
It was fun.
Yeah?
Right, guys?
I loved it except working with him.
What was it like working with him?
No, he was tall.
Such a bad boy who was so sweet, so protective, so patient, which was necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was surprising and really lovely, and he just, talk about going with the flow. I mean, it was not an easy shoot at times, and he was really, really a good guy.
Oh, look
Let's hear it for Vince.
I love that.
It was fun.
You're great. Mwah. She's like, what was it like filming? Did you have fun? What about the food fight? Did you like the food fight?
I think it was satisfactory. I don't know, it just happened improvisationally. You know, so that made it even more interesting because at one point an apple hit me over here and we stopped the fight.
I had good aim.
Yes,
Oh my God.
but she took up to it right quick, and it was very spontaneous. And sometimes that's the best kind of thing to happen in a movie, is something takes you over and moves you.
Yeah.
You know, and so I thought it was great, and after it was over, that was really good.
The feistiness was hilarious. I think my favorite comment was, "You beast." That was my favorite one. And I was like, I'm going to use that from now on. So wait, Vince, what did you love most about this set?
Oh, it's fun just to watch these guys work. I'm such a huge fan of all of them. You mentioned just some of the movies. It's incredible. And to get a chance to work with them and to be present with them was tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember what you called us?
Depending on the day. The clean one?
Don't say the other stuff.
Murderous Row. He
Murderous
would
Row.
come and he would
That's
look at us. He goes,
Murderous
"Oh my
Row.
God, Murderous Row."
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It means you're bold and I like it. And you're from Texas, man. We're both Texans.
I know, we grew up there. Well, shut my mouth.
Yeah. It's
That's
Dallas,
everything
right?
What?
Are you Dallas?
Dallas.
I was Fort Worth Burleson, right next door.
I know it, yeah.
But your family, they had a restaurant there, right? Was it Mario's?
Yeah, they did. Mario's,
Yeah.
My father started a restaurant there.
That's amazing.
Near the Dallas State Fair. So people like Nat King Cole and And oh my God, the people that came, Jimmy Durante, they all came because they were at the state fair.
Yeah.
So
It's a
they would
famous
come to Mario's,
fair.
which wasn't far away.
Yeah.
And I even got to sing a song with Jimmy Durante. And when I got through, he turned to my father and he said, "She's going to be in show business." And my father went, he was hoping 4 years of college and then I'd be a scholar. He was really wrong.
I know, my mom was a teacher, so she was real stoked about me moving and living on a mattress in LA. I'm gonna not do college instead. That's
But you
great.
know, we knew where we were going.
No, she definitely knew, like, that I had a gift, but, you know, it's a hard business.
think?
And she's very real. She's very realistic, yeah. So, she, you know,
Yeah,
she's like...
my father said, why did my daughter pick the thing that will probably constantly disappoint her? And I said, because I don't think I'll be disappointed. You know, I just knew it. I knew it. Now, that was a gift.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it came from, but I'll thank whoever it is that did it in here.
Do any of you cook? Because they're cooking in the film nonstop. Do you cook?
I cook.
You do? Do you cook?
I
Go
You
for it.
cook.
No, you started.
I
She
just
does
eat.
not cook.
I do not cook. Hey, ma'am. Hey.
How do you do, babe?
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
just
God.
showed me.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
You make your meat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, we don't match. We need y'all. You
Yeah,
cook, right, Susan?
that's right.
You're...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come from a cooking. I'm the oldest of 9. Let's just start with that. So seriously, my mom wasn't, and she didn't have any help. Then she just kept having these kids. So it was not, you know, she. That's what she did. She cooked babies, basically.
Yeah. That's a hard job.
And they came out great.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
mostly lived on like tuna casserole with, you know, spam, the classic New Jersey, New York Italian, you know. But yeah, I cook, but not so much when it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm more for guests and, you know.
Yeah.
But I went through a period when I didn't have children. So I was just cooking, and then I was a vegetarian, and I baked, and I did everything. And then that was enough. And then I moved on to having children and kind of not so much.
It's fun though, like watching this movie, because I only enjoy cooking. The only time I ever enjoy it is if I'm in the kitchen with a bunch of my girlfriends or my sister or somebody doing. I'm never like single mom in it and like can't wait to cook 3
With that
different things
glass
because
of
we
wine
all like something different.
and the kitchen with the glass of wine and things. No, that's not real.
It is real sometimes because my sister is a really good cook.
Really?
And I am a great helper.
Right.
Does
You could
she-
set
does
the
she have-
table.
Yeah, I am great at that. Yes.
Does she have children?
She does. She
So
is
who's
a
holding
really
down
good
the
mother.
children while she's
Yeah.
in the kitchen?
They're fine.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got some Nonnas in our audience from the actual Nonna's restaurant in Staten Island. Hello, y'all. Did you get a chance to go?
I
One
did,
of you
yeah.
You got a chance to go.
I did.
Before the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I met Maria, who is this little bitty thing. When I was sitting down, she was as tall as I am, sitting.
Oh.
And it was a great meal in this tiny little place. I didn't realize it would be so small
Yeah.
because it has so much energy and
So much family.
Yeah. And then when I went to go in the kitchen to kind of check it out, they were like, "Get out of the kitchen." So I didn't really see the kitchen.
That's kind of like the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Get out of the kitchen.
Oh, no,
All right.
she made great cannolis.
That's
Yes.
my mother's favorite dessert.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't pry her away from it. Yeah, she loves it. Not even Italian. There you go. So what drew you to this film? You're part of so many great films. What drew you to this one?
You hardly ever get to work with women. You know, I like the
yeah, me
idea of just being with the gang of women, and I've seen a lot of Vince's stuff that was really funny and good, and so I knew he was a good...
And the trust tree. Did she give you the whole time?
We had fun, yeah. That was sort of the dynamic in the movie. So it's kind of carrying over to today. I'm glad to see it makes the day more fun, so yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Brenda, why did you want to do Nonnas?
Oh, I loved the script. I thought it was fabulous.
Yeah?
When I read it, I gave it to a friend. She cried. I went, "What?"
Oh,
And she
I cried
said,
so many
"It's so
times.
moving." And I said, "Yeah, it's beautifully written."
Yeah.
And it was just, it had that kind of human impact that things are. It reminded me of that Jimmy Stewart movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those kind of movies
Which we
that he
need
made that
more
made
of.
your heart go, oh.
Yeah.
You know, I loved what I read. It was so emotional.
It
You know
is.
what I mean? There were
Yes.
things that you could, identify with or remember that you with your family. And I remember my mother said to me once, "Brenda, remember one thing, family is everything."
Yeah.
And I was probably 18 and thought, "Yeah, sure, bye." you know,
Yeah.
but she was so right.
I think that's why it hits so hard though too, because then if a person passes and that's your family, like what is the next move? And I think a lot of people are going to relate to that in the movie. So Lorraine, you took inspiration for your character from someone specific. Who was it?
So my grandmother and great-grandmother, I really only knew them when I was young. And when I made Goodfellas, Martin Scorsese's mom would come on the set.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, she's the perfect Nonna. When I read the script, I said, oh, I'm going to steal from Catherine.
Yeah.
And the boys loved her. She cooked the meals for them, you know, on the set. So when you see them eating, it's all Catherine brought in all the food for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm laughing because Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Marty, they all were used to her because she did it in Raging Bull. She would feed them.
Yeah.
So it was a great tradition for them. But her way and her manner with all of those boys was so much fun to watch. She was, you know, smacking them around.
Is that a normal thing for actors, y'all, to really take from a person, like a character you've kind of seen in life and play off of that?
If you're lucky, you can get find someone that comes
know
up
some
with very
wild
specific things. I mean, when you're playing a person that's still alive, that's
One
scary.
thing.
That's
a
a
different kind
big
of weight.
responsibility.
Yeah.
When I did Dead Man Walking, I was
Yeah.
so scared the entire time because I felt a responsibility to that story and to
honor.
her.
Yeah.
But it's fun when you can find somebody and take a little bit
Yeah,
here,
a little
bit
here, a little
there.
there.
You know that.
It's like making a sauce.
Yeah. This year marks the 50th anniversary of a Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I love. I think it was like the first wild thing I ever saw when I was young. And to this day, it's still in limited release around the world, making it the longest running theatrical release in film history. Were you, like, whenever the part came up, were you just like, yes, let's do it? Or were you kind of hesitant? It's such a bold move.
Yeah, my agents weren't mad about that. But I knew Tim Curry because a friend of mine was in the stage production in LA. So I went by just to say hi to him when he was casting. I had a complete phobia about singing.
Yeah.
My dad was actually a band singer, and I'd been told my entire life that I couldn't sing. So I had a just complete trauma about that, which seemed so much about your ego. And I was like, people can sing, they can hum. What's wrong with... Anyway. And when I went in, they were like, oh, my God, would you read? And I said, well, I can't sing. And they said, well, just read. And it had never been funny before. So they were like, please, can you sing Happy Birthday? So I thought they would give me drugs or alcohol or something to get through the recording of this music, but they didn't. And so when it came out, you know, it was shelved right away. It didn't really have an opening. Everyone was saying, what the hell was this? So it played for a day in LA and then it was gone. And then two guys at Fox started feeding it to little tiny, you know, theaters on the weekends. And I don't know what's wrong with the psyche of the world, but it went crazy. I think Don't Dream It, Be It really spoke to a lot of people, and it became a kind of sanctuary for people to feel part of a community, to be themselves, whatever, without going to Burning Man. They could just...
Yeah, but I didn't know that whole... I guess for me, whenever it was already a huge thing, I feel like. And I think why I gravitated towards it and things like that, which I don't know if there's much like that, but... It's just because once again, you're allowed to color outside the lines. You're allowed to, you're brought up in such a Southern mentality, and it's like, no, you have to do this, be subservient, be quiet, like in the room. And it was just this like wild, like bigger than life thing.
It's a funny thing to be part of people's legacy, because when I was doing, for instance, years ago, working with Natalie Portman when she was about 17, she wanted to go, and we were in LA. We told them we were coming, and you know, when you go to the movie, there's a lot of things happening, but there's a shadow cast that acts out in costume in front of the screen. I see some people nodding their heads. Maybe you went, yeah. Okay, good for you. Good. And when we went, the kids that were in front of the screen, their parents had met doing the same thing, obviously, many years before.
Oh, wow.
So how weird is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm proud of it, actually. I love the fact that it encourages people to not just dream it, but to be it. You know, I think that's why it's lasted, really. And the music's fun. But I think really it's just that it's a place where people can experiment and be who they are. You know, we dress up all the time and do things, but everybody doesn't get a chance to do that.
Well, there's no other film like this, so congratulations on that. I've never seen anything like it, and I think that's because it's based on something that's true and authentic and real as well. The movie is based on the real-life restaurant on Staten Island where Nonnas work in the kitchen. One of them is joining us now. Give it up for 91-year-old Nonna Maria. Welcome to the show! Welcome to the show. I'm gonna be a good host. I'm gonna wait till you use it. Yeah, so you know everyone here, but you're famous for your food. So what do you like to make?
I like to make a lasagna. Because lasagna, everybody like it.
I like a lasagna.
I make a soffa calamari con linguini.
Yeah.
Everybody like it.
My mouth is watering.
I make a zucchini parmigiano.
And everyone likes
Like lasagna.
Yeah.
You know, meatball, rabbit. They have so many different food, you know. Everybody, more lasagna you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd eat
Everybody like a
any of that.
lasagna?
Yeah.
Number one.
That's the number one thing? That's the number one thing? So who taught you to cook?
My nonna.
Your Nonna. She was offended.
It was fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like to play outside.
Yeah.
And my grandma Nonna, they call me, Maria, what you do outside? Come inside. No, I want to play. No, you gotta come inside. They gotta make a cavatelli, gotta cook. Because when you marry, if you don't cook, your wife or your husband don't want you. I don't want the baby. Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
remember,
But you did.
She
Say
was
that and you
very
married.
fresh, my grandma.
But you
Because
married.
you want to marry 5 years old.
Maybe I've just figured out my problem with relationships. Okay, what's your favorite Italian dish? That not that you like to cook for others. What do you like?
Pasta e patate.
Say it again.
Pasta e patate.
Patate. Pasta patate. What's that? Like a potato? Is that potato? What?
Pasta e fagioli.
Sure.
Pasta and beans.
Yes.
It's very easy, beautiful.
Okay.
And give me more.
Okay. I like it.
You know.
I love it. What's your favorite? I didn't ask you earlier. What's your favorite Italian dish?
I like arrabbiata pasta, a little
Yeah.
bit spicy,
What is
yeah.
that?
But I bet her
Arrabbiata.
lasagna, I haven't had her, I bet her lasagna would be my new favorite if I had a chance to
Yeah.
have it. Yeah, for sure.
I like spicy
I got
too.
hungry after I heard everything.
in my mouth.
Pasta,
I like
there you go.
lasagna and meatball. You make it the good. You like it? You Everybody say, yeah, you like it. My Nonna do like this.
Man,
Nonna too.
I gotta say, meeting you, they crushed it. Y'all crushed. This is like amazing. You brought this into film. You are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all did such an amazing job bringing this to life. A big thank you to Nonna Maria and the whole cast of Nonnas. And good news for everyone in the studio audience. Y'all are actually all going home with a copy of the restaurant's newest cookbook, Nonna's House, cooking and reminiscing with the Italian grandmothers of Enoteca Maria. All right, let's take one more quick break. We're gonna be right back with What I'm Liking.